Hey, my friends, what is good? Derek here from Bomb Socks with another week of Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ, and as always, we do it one bite at a time. So, after an amazing Easter week this last week, we're back in the Doctrine and Covenants, and we're studying the wonderful sections of sections 37 to 40, and we've got some great videos from our Bomb Bites video collection to help you appreciate, to learn from, and enjoy these sections just a little bit more. And if you haven't already, you got to go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. Godspeed, friends, and enjoy the video. So this week is sections 37 to 40, great missionary sections. Some very cool things happen in here that really set up a foundation for where the church is going at this point. So in order to start this, I want to show you this picture, and this kind of backs up to last week. It's a cool picture, one of the greatest early missionary pictures. I believe you've got Oliver Cowdery right here leading the charge. You got Parley P. Pratt right here. You got Peter Whitmer Jr., and then you got Ziba Peterson. And these men were called on a mission specifically to go out and teach Lamanites. And the Lamanites lived on the borders of the United States at this point, which as far west went to about the Missouri area at this point. And so this is a mission to the Lamanites that didn't baptize many Lamanites. But anyway, Parley right here. Let me share with you just kind of a cool little story about Parley P. Pratt. I shared with you he was kind of my baptism ancestor in the sense that one of his missions brought my family into the church. And so Parley, his conversion story is kind of a cool one. Early in 1830, just decided to sell his business, sell his farm, and just ended up in New York. He felt like the Spirit of the Lord was leading him there. And he ended up coming across a copy of the Book of Mormon. And what he ended up doing is he read it in one day. And he said he felt compelled to this book. He said eating was a burden. He preferred reading to sleep and drink, and anyway, that whole thing right there. But he read it in a day, a 24-hour period. And he said the Spirit of the Lord rested so heavily upon him he couldn't rest, and he had to keep reading the book, and really saw that this is Jesus Christ that's talking about, and he was just drawn to the Book of Mormon. He ends up finding his way up to New York and found Joseph Smith and was able to be baptized. So Parley, on one of his missions, there's kind of a cool little story. As many of the men back then, Parley was put into jail as he was preaching the gospel. And so his companions were actually freed. And so Parley's the only one in jail at this point. And he's like, you know what, I got to go meet up with my companions. And so he tells he was just in a small little house with this policeman, and basically just said to this man, so this is kind of a fun story. He says, after sitting a while by the fire the next morning in charge of the officer, I requested to step out. I walked out into the public square accompanied by him. Said I, Mr. Peabody, are you good at a race? No, said he, but my big bulldog is, and he has been trained to assist me in my office these several years, and he will take any man down at my bidding. Well, Mr. Peabody, you've compelled me to go a mile, and I have gone with you 2 miles. You've given me an opportunity to preach, sing, and have also entertained me with lodging and breakfast. I must now go on my journey. If you're good at a race, you can accompany me. I thank you for your kindness. Good day, sir. And then I just picture Parley just running. He said, I then started my journey while he stood amazed, not be able to step 1 foot before the other. Seeing this, I halted, turned to him, and invited him again to a race. Here's Parley trash talking this guy. He stood amazed still. I then renewed my exertions and soon increased my speed to something like that of a deer. He did not awake from his astonishment sufficiently to start pursuit till I had gained perhaps 200 yards. I had already leaped a fence and was making my way through a field to the forest on the right of the road. He now came hallooing after me and shouting to his dog to seize me. The dog, one of the largest I ever saw, came close on my footsteps with all his fury. The officer was still behind in pursuit, clapping his hands and hallooing, Stew boy, take him! Watch, lay hold of him, I say, down with him!" and pointing his finger in the direction I was running. The dog was fast overtaking me, and in the act of leaping upon me, when, quick as lightning, the thought struck me to assist the officer in sending the dog with all fury to the forest a little distance before me. I pointed my finger in that direction, clapped my hands, and shouted in imitation of the officer. The dog hastened past me with redoubled speed towards the forest, being urged by the officer and myself, both of us running in the same direction. And so I look at that and think, here's the officer going, "Go get him, Stew boy," and Parley's like, "Yeah, go get him, Stew boy," and he just runs right past him, and then Parley takes off. I've always thought that's kind of a fun story. But Parley was actually promised something back in section 32. So in verse 3 it says, "Nothing shall prevail against them." And that's an interesting promise for all missionaries. Nothing will prevail against you. You might have crazy stuff going on, you might have dogs chasing you might have difficult things going on, but nothing will prevail against you. And keeping in mind The definition of Israel, according to President Nelson, is let God prevail. And this is one of those instances where I believe, hey, Parley got inspired by the Lord to be able to do that. So just crazy things that happen to missionaries out on their missions. So tomorrow, I'm going to bring up one of the greatest converts to the church at this time period, actually a good friend to Parley P. Pratt. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing and thanks for sharing these messages. We appreciate that you do that. If you like what you see, please click the like button. It helps get that message out there more. And again, go check out our socks if you haven't already at bombsocks.com. Godspeed, friends. Have a great day, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.